We are going to hear from Cassie this week, along with another witness named Jane. They said we're going to hear, or we're going to see videos of these freak-offs, and it's going to be very uncomfortable.
He was in possession of a trove of digital evidence from Diddy's freak-offs and parties.
I had Cassie and Sean. Basically, they told me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard lots of business, because what they would do is Sean.
And it'd be like, matter of fact, they sent me the girl pictures, like pictures of this girl, like, not the y'all saw. Worse.
Even though the trial has only just begun, what comes next will ruin careers. Several videos, several celebrities, and numerous victims. For years, 50 warned us, nobody is safe while the evidence is now being presented in federal court. Rumors, murmurs at industry events, and blind pieces on gossip websites were all that existed for years. Everything changed when the security footage was released. In addition to being a member of the LAPD, Officer Israel Flores is most known for having previously worked for Securitas at the Intercontinental Hotel in Century City, California.
Officer Israel Flores. He's a police officer for LAPD, but more notably is before he used to work for Securitas, and he had worked at the Intercontinental Hotel in Century City in California. So when they were talking about March 5th of 2016, this witness, who again was for the government, he got a call about a woman in distress on the 6th floor of this hotel. And so he says during his testimony, he had observed a male and a female in the lobby. He recognized that this male was Sean Combs. And so at the time he was working as the assistant director for the Intercontinental Hotel. So, his responsibilities were to respond to incidents, train trainees pretty much. And then he later on became the director. And that's kind of important, mainly because it kind of controlled what he was and wasn't able to do when it came to this surveillance video. So for example, as an assistant director, he wasn't able to rewind it past a certain time frame. He wasn't even able to download it or even download this video to attach onto the incident report or anything like that. So again, he was serving as an assistant director in that capacity at the time that this incident had occurred. When they were talking about the surveillance video, Officer Flores was talking about how every floor of the hotel had cameras. They were motion activated cameras, by the way. Again, they had the capacity to rewind and download these types of videos, but only the director of security was able to do so. And he didn't take over that role until later on. But as far as, him writing up incidents reports, because we got to see that exhibit was we got to see the exhibit of the incident report from that day in 2016. So before he responded to the call, he said he looked at the cameras. He saw a black man pacing back and forth. Then when he arrived onto the 6th floor, he saw Diddy, or Sean Combs, in a towel, and then saw Cassie in the corner covering her face. He said he didn't know it was Cassie immediately. He just pretty much recognized Diddy. He said that Diddy's demeanor, and this is a pretty interesting point, Jesse, was a blank stare, and said it was a devilish stare. Diddy at this point is still in his is still in his towel. He's still wearing socks. Another interesting point is that they refer to Cassie as Cece, but that she was pretty much scared and frightened, according to Officer.
They also mentioned that a hotel security guard who was sworn in verified what 50 Cent had been claiming all along, which is another intriguing aspect. It was warning us, not hate. That hotel footage's timestamp, 2016. 50 began posting more often about Diddy's gatherings in the same year. Is it a coincidence? Not. According to people familiar with the matter, celebrities were rushing up to join Diddy for parties, but 50 was noticeably missing. He was aware of what transpired when the doors shut. Unconsentedly recorded, forced hacks were used as pressure to keep her stuck in a cycle of silence.
Cassie was forced to allow an escort to in her mouth at one point, and this was per the instructions of Sean Combs. The other witness, Jane, is going to testify that she and Diddy got into an altercation where he allegedly stomped on her face, and that she would run into every single room, lock the door, he would chase after her and kick the door down. And it was very graphic.
Another bomb went off while everyone was reviewing the hotel video. Oddi Jonathan. Diddy spent $5 million, 0 cents, to hush the witness. Since Combs was formally prosecuted and imprisoned, several videos have surfaced, especially on the internet.
Since Combs has officially been charged and he's locked up behind bars, there have been a lot of videos that have been surfacing, particularly online. And one of those videos is the interrogation of a man named Jonathan Oddi. Now, this is a strange one, maybe some would say, an odd one. See what I did right there? So I want you to stay with me. So we go back to 2018. And Jonathan Oddi allegedly went into the Trump National Doral Miami Hotel and Resort in the middle of the night and ostensibly went on a rampage. The state attorney's office says that Oddi fired shots in the lobby and toward the chandelier, then a giant American flag across the front desk. There was a shootout when Miami police got to the scene, and Oddi was shot in the leg and tried to hide, but he was taken into custody.
Oddi was injured in the leg and attempted to flee, but he was apprehended. Oddi was never intended to speak. The $5 million, 0 cents deal was made specifically to purchase his quiet for good. However, when Cassie stepped forward, something shifted. It is hard to overlook the time. These accusations were written off for years as the digressions of a guy who was disturbed.
I had with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would mess and tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard lots of business. Because what they would do is Sean talks a lot on the phone and on the TV with speakers and stuff, and I was like a slave. Okay, for them that's what I was. That's all.
Cassie was no longer the exclusive focus of this. This concerned a trend, a framework intended to take advantage of and keep victims quiet. $5 million. Diddy attributed Oddi's distress to that amount, the cost of ensuring that this tale was never published. However, money cannot permanently hide the truth. The Daily Mail just released the NDA, which at one point seemed to be conspiracy theory fiction, on July 9, 2014, replete with Diddy's signature. Even Tanya Trotwine, Oddi's ex-wife, has acknowledged its reality and said that it occurred at the same time as their divorce.
I've settled $4.125 million with Diddy. Okay, because he's scared that I was exposed.
I don't want to talk about Diddy right now. I want to talk about you. Help me understand.
I almost feel like he divorced me because of the money he received, she revealed. So, I wouldn't make a claim. What Oddi experienced wasn't just S. It was part of a calculated system that relied on NDAs, payoffs, and fear to keep victims silent. The same system that's now crumbling in real time. And this is just the beginning of what Oddi has to say. They weren't just parties, they were orchestrated events with rules, requirements, and consequences for those who tried to leave. The infamous freak-offs that have haunted whispers in the industry for decades. Cassie didn't just witness these events, she documented them. The videos she provided to prosecutors show a pattern so disturbing that jurors were warned before viewing.
They're actually claiming that Cassie Ventura is the aggressor. Listen.
Diddy's lawyer's strategy to fight Cassie Ventura's claims is with claims of their own. The defense team indicates a plan to portray Ventura as an aggressive and violent person, capable of starting physical confrontations. The defense tells the court the mutual between victim one Ventura and Diddy was so bad it amounted to domestic violence, and that will undercut prosecutors' argument that Ventura was a victim. Diddy will reportedly admit to domestic violence while still claiming he is innocent of trafficking and racketeering.
Nobody's defending what he did. However, it's the context of it. Is he guilty of domestic violence? Sure looks like it to me, and he copped to it. You got the tape, you got his thing. Domestic violence is not what he's charged with.
The defense's strategy? Paint Cassie as the aggressor, claim she was a willing participant. But the evidence tells a different story, one of coercion, control, and consequences for anyone who tried to break free. The freak-offs weren't just about they were about power. The power to make people do things they wouldn't normally do. The power to record it. And the power to use those recordings as leverage.
I did it. And I'm the only one who's been vocal about this long before it actually.
Oh, you've been saying this for a long time now. And then no one was, they're just, why is he saying this? And now it's coming out like crazy.
But I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Yeah.
So a lot of the celebrity culture that you don't hear saying anything is because they participated to a degree.
Was there a reason you never went to those parties back in the day? Obviously, I know what was going on there, but is there a reason you never did?
I'm just not with all that freaky. Like all of the stuff that he's doing, I'm not into that type of stuff. I'm just a little more, maybe you could say basic or normal. You go to the 90s, and Keefe D said he paid him to kill Tupac.
Yeah.
It's a little, like, you get the craziest accusation.
What makes these revelations so chilling isn't just what happened at these parties. It's how many people knew and said nothing. How many careers were built on looking the other way. How many victims were dismissed as liars or opportunists. The first day of Diddy's trial flipped the power dynamic completely. The man who once made or broke careers now sits powerless as his own children watch his empire crumble. When his kids walked into that courtroom, you could cut the atmosphere with a knife. These aren't just celebrity offspring showing support. They're watching their father's empire collapse in real time. The Diddy family in court is a stark contrast to their Instagram yacht parties. This is a family in crisis mode. But here's what's wild. While his kids are putting on brave faces, Diddy's legal team is throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks.
They alleged that if you watch the CNN video closely, you'll see that midway through the video, Diddy walks away holding a phone. And this phone is all he wanted from Cassie. That this argument that they had, while he acted in a vile manner, he is guilty of domestic violence, and but he's not on trial for that. This argument in particular was about a phone. Cassie was jealous, and all he wanted was this phone. And as soon as he got it, he sat down in the chair, he put his head in his hands, and that was that.
What's truly sickening is how many people must have known. Security teams, assistants, drivers, the entourage that surrounds every move a celebrity makes. They all saw something. They all stayed quiet. And while the courtroom watches this nightmare unfold, the music industry that enabled Diddy for decades is suddenly developing amnesia.
One night, Diddy, according to the government, hunted for her. He found out that she was seeing another man, and then Diddy took his gun and his bodyguards and threatened to even kill this man that Cassie was with. The government said that Diddy had forced Cassie out of her apartment, broke into Cassie's apartment, beat her brutally, beyond just what we had seen through that Intercontinental surveillance video as well, too. The government kind of painting it as the evidence will show that Diddy relied on his inner circle, and together they all worked as a group to pretty much promote Diddy's power, that Diddy would refer to himself as a king. I remember speaking during the lunch break, and that kind of matches the tattoo that he has on the back of his neck that I see from inside that gallery.
The same executives who lined up